importance of peatlands is enormous because peatlands actually emit about 5% of global carbon emissions, and indeed in Europe it's pretty much the same figures.
The government has put €100 million plus fund in place for the re-wetting of the boglands, particularly in the Midlands. And that's a significant investment.
But Europe needs to, in my opinion, put packages together to reward the good people, especially of the west of Ireland and indeed the Midlands, for what they have done and the way they have looked after their peatlands down through the years.
It's heading in the right direction. It's a pity we didn't start doing it about 30 years ago. As soon as we got into government, we started working on preserving the peats and re-wetting them, and we've only been in here since last July.
Peatlands really are one of the things that really could save us and could make the difference in the battle against climate change. But also, if we allow them to be degraded and we allow them to continue to be damaged, that's going to accelerate catastrophic climate change. So I think peatlands are something that can really make a difference, and we need to make sure that we use them to make a difference for the good.
So we can actually make a huge impact at a very early stage, much earlier than 2050, if there is a will to do it. So it's very important that governments and indeed the European Union itself get the policy right.
What's important for the people in the peatlands communities, I think, is the question of just transition. I've been down around the bogs and I've seen re-wetted bogs, and they're absolutely wonderful, and they're clearly a great resource for fighting the climate catastrophe that we're facing. And I totally agree with closing down the peat reproduction and re-wetting the bogs.
We need a transition, and we need to make sure that we make it attractable for local communities, landowners, because bear in mind that most of the land in Ireland is privately owned.
I think being from Donegal with the highest proportion of peatlands in the country, it's very interesting and provides a lot of opportunities for the county, but I think we have to be in a position to gear that up, because as well as Donegal having the highest peatlands, we have one of the highest dependency ratios in the country as well.
And what people are saying to me is that what government and the EU policies that are being put in place, they don't see filtering down into their world, into their communities. What they're hearing is more talk, what they see is more committees being formed, but nothing that actually equates to very real action.
So it's incomprehensible as to why, when we know that we're going to have to stop extracting peat, we're going to have to stop the peat mills for so long, that we haven't put in place the research into the alternative mediums for the horticultural industry.
We also have the problem in Ireland as the horticulture that needs to be addressed over the next 10, 15 years, because what I think Europe needs to understand, you cannot turn off one tap if there's no water in the other tap.
So the plan is, at the moment, we actually have to import about 4,000 tonnes every 4 weeks. Right? It's coming from Latvia. Now think of the carbon footprint of that, because moss peat is at least 95% water. So we're going to awful extremes, awful expense, and leaving a big, heavy carbon footprint.
Those that do need very particular type of substrate or growing medium, we haven't done that research. We're behind the curve on it, and we're now in a situation where on one hand we're importing peat, and on the other hand we're net exporters of peat.
We're seeing a lot of changes in terms of how things are coming along, in terms of knowledge and in terms of actual action in relation to peatland restoration. We're seeing enormous change at a community level. Particularly here in Ireland, we've seen a recent turnaround where our peat board, instead of exploiting peat, is now becoming a restoration company.
Where they have re-employed people who were once people who were making drains for Bord na Móna, now being employed to refill the drains and re-wet the bogs. So some work has been done, there's still lots to do.
We are in a global picture here, and it's important that we don't reduce our action to accountancy tricks or ways to frame the story a little bit differently. It's really important that we're honest about this issue, that we have more planning, that we have more transparency, and that we have a joined up approach that brings together our biodiversity, our heritage, and our climate obligations with social solidarity.